So it's public knowledge now that Wilfried Nancy will be the new Celtic manager, and following this, current interim boss Martin O'Neill has sent a warning to him. In today's video, we will go over what that is. Not only that, we will also go over all the latest Celtic news from the last 24 hours.
But first, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content.
The fallout from Celtic's chaotic AGM continues. The supporters group Celtic Trust has issued a formal response following the club board's post-meeting statement, sharply criticising the handling of Friday's meeting and demanding clarity over how the AGM was conducted. According to the Trust, the AGM was nothing less than an outrageous assault on shareholder rights. They say shareholders were denied their opportunity to question the board over crucial issues, from the summer transfer window disaster to European failures, after events inside the Kerrydale suite were mismanaged and the meeting was abruptly shut down. The Trust's letter to the Secretary demanded an explanation for why their Vice Chair was blocked from putting forward a procedural motion to remove the video montage and allow more time for direct questions. They also questioned how polls were handled, alleging that as the Chair rose from his seat, call for a poll was barked out, and many shareholders or proxy holders claim they were unaware votes were being taken. They point out that the video content had previously been made available online, implying the board used it as a delay tactic rather than a genuine communication tool. Moreover, the Trust highlighted issues with transparency. Many shareholders told them they had little notice about the sudden adjournment and collapse of the AGM, leaving votes cast under murky conditions. The group have demanded a full explanation from club executives and a retraction of the board's accusations that blamed supporters and ultras for the disruption. In their statement, they concluded, "The board cannot blame a few for the dismantling of shareholder rights. The real chaos was caused by the chair's refusal to allow questions, lack of procedural fairness, and refusal to treat shareholders with respect." The Celtic Trust say they are now exploring their legal and procedural options, including the possibility of calling for an extraordinary general meeting if the board does not provide satisfactory answers. With trust between board and supporters already severely damaged, the Trust statement suggests this isn't going away anytime soon. Now for the main story, with Wilfried Nancy finally poised to arrive in Glasgow as the next Celtic manager, veteran interim boss Martin O'Neill has issued a blunt warning about what he believes the Frenchman should and shouldn't get involved in. O'Neill said, "I think that the new manager coming in, I think that he should divorce himself from all those proceedings. This is a fresh start for him. He hasn't been party to anything that's happened in recent times. So just let's say it was me and I'd never manage the football club again. I'd be saying, yeah, that's got nothing to do with me. My making now is to put Celtic back in the game." He emphasised that Nancy inherits a club in disarray, on and off the pitch, and that the key for him will be to focus purely on football rather than the boardroom mess. According to the article, Celtic have already agreed a deal with Nancy and his backroom staff from Columbus Crew, with the hope he'll be in charge soon. Until then, O'Neill and assistant Sean Maloney remain in charge, steering the squad through crucial upcoming fixtures as uncertainty continues. The article frames O'Neill's words as a thinly veiled reminder. Nancy gets a clean slate, but he must avoid getting dragged into the chaos that has plagued Celtic lately. In other news, Grant Irvine will be in charge of VAR duties for the upcoming Hibs versus Celtic match, assisted by Ross Hardy, after confirmation from the SFA. On the pitch at Easter Road, the officiating team will be drawn from the regular Scottish FA pool. The assistants will be Frank Connor and Daniel McFarlane. Connor is no stranger to high-pressure games, having previously overseen other heated derbies and cup ties, with Celtic currently in a state of flux. Managerial uncertainty, fan unrest, and a fragile squad, the choice of officials only adds another layer of tension. There's an underlying sense among supporters that any controversial call could spark a fresh wave of criticism. That instability carries over into the dugout too. With a new manager reportedly on the horizon, Sunday could mark the final game in charge for interim boss Martin O'Neill. As the match approaches, all eyes will be on the referee and VAR team, and whether their performance helps calm the atmosphere or fuels it further. In other news, Martin O'Neill has lifted the lid on one of the lesser-known but most important figures of his entire Celtic era, revealing the scout he believes played a pivotal role in building the foundations of his success in Glasgow. Speaking this week, O'Neill reflected on the early days of his tenure and the staff who helped him quickly transform the squad. While players like Sutton, Hartson, Agada, and Valgaeren often get the headlines, the former Celtic manager made a point of highlighting the work done behind the scenes by his recruitment team. O'Neill explained that one particular scout stood out for his eye for talent, his fearlessness in making big recommendations, and his willingness to challenge the manager when necessary. According to O'Neill, this scout's influence was far bigger than most supporters would ever realise. Although he didn't go into detail about every signing, O'Neill hinted that several of the key additions during his early years at Celtic, the ones that helped build a dominant, fearless side, came directly from this individual's assessments and persistence. O'Neill said that having someone in recruitment who was willing to argue passionately for players, push ideas forward, and take responsibility for bold calls was critical. He described this scout as someone who knew exactly what type of player Celtic needed and was never afraid to say it. Even now, decades on, O'Neill credits that behind the scenes expertise as one of the reasons his team became so strong so quickly, and he believes clubs still underestimate the importance of that role today. For supporters, it is another reminder that some of Celtic's biggest footballing shifts did not just come from the manager on the touchline, but from the unseen figures analysing players and shaping the squad long before signings were completed. Lastly, the fallout from Celtic's abandoned AGM will continue for weeks, and that's hardly surprising. The Herald's Stephen McGowan, one of the most respected reporters covering the club, has delivered a blunt assessment of what went wrong inside the Kerrydale suite. The AGM, which lasted barely 4 minutes before being halted due to protests, was supposed to be the one guaranteed annual opportunity for supporters to question the board directly. Instead, the meeting descended into confrontation, with chants, red cards, and walkouts dominating proceedings before Chairman Peter Lawwell cancelled the event. Supporters were outraged by what was happening in front of them, labelled bullies and treated like dirt on the bottom of the board's shoe. McGowan, speaking on the Press Box podcast, understood the frustration among supporters following a turbulent period for the club, but he believes the mood in the room ultimately backfired. He said, "That's a regret for me. I mean, for me, it was a day. I totally respect the desire and the right of supporters to protest after what has been seen as a dysfunctional period for the club. I get that, and you're very, very loath to criticise at all. But equally, I thought it was a day for calm heads and forensic interrogation. It wasn't a day for kind of self-righteous posturing, because what that meant was that the answers that needed and the questions that needed asked were not answered."
What do you think of what we discussed in today's video? Let us know down in the comments section below. Make sure you've liked this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.